Hi, it's Lavon. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing so you can see all the fun things that we do. Today I'm doing a farmhouse kitchen makeover, and we did it all through video consult. So the homeowner and I did a consultation on Facebook Messenger, and she showed me around the kitchen and we talked about everything, and then she sent me some still shots, and this is where I was able to show her what my ideas were. Now I use an app called PicsArt, and I love it, and they're not sponsoring me, but I'm gonna explain how I use the app. As you can see, these are the areas in the kitchen, and then I take the app and then I put those photos in, and I'm able to change it into an illustration. So first I showed her all my Dixie Belle color spoons. I always take those to a consultation, and we agreed to do drop cloth on the upper cabinets and driftwood on the lower cabinets. We talked about the hardware, and there were those little plates behind that had wheat on them. I asked her if they came off, so she took one off and showed me one without. So we agreed on using Rustoleum's oil rub bronze and then purchasing the lower cabinet poles from Amarok Hardware. So here's the PicsArt Studio app, and again, they're not sponsoring me, but I love this app because I take those pictures, I put them in the app, and then I change the picture to an illustration. That way I can plug in my colors and also photos. So that way I was able to show my idea for the breakfast bar over her existing window, so she can see it, what it would look like in her actual kitchen. And there's another item that was a drop down that kind of filled the gap in that cabinet between the stove and the cabinets, and that just kind of showed the color and those poles. And then I can send links to products that I think might be nice, like those curtains from Target. And then this was a concept that we were talking about, perhaps painting the floor and stamping it. So they then decided that they were just going to have a plank floor installed. So here's a concept that I had for the corner. They had a need to keep the cat's food from the dogs. So I actually did this on a video before, and I will link that in the description box, or actually at the end of the video. And it ended up in their dining room, and it was definitely kitty approved sanctuary. So the cabinet doors were delivered to my shop. So keep in mind, this is during quarantine, so I did everything off site that I possibly could. And so I took pictures of the hardware because, you know, sometimes it's hard to remember how they go back in place. So wanted to take a picture of how that worked. And then all of the hardware ended up in a bowl. You have to keep that, keep all the pieces, and then I put all the screws in another bowl. Okay, the first thing I always do, and I say this in every video, but I do a thorough cleaning with white lightning, especially for kitchen cabinets because of grease. I dilute it and put it in a spray bottle, and then I go back over it with clear water to rinse it. The cabinets were labeled in a way that made sense to the customers. So the first thing I'm doing here is using Dixie Belle's Boss. That prevents bleed through because the cabinets were kind of dark. So this, in case it had any bleed through, especially when you're using a light color. And that's the tannins in the wood. That's what the bleed through means. So I had cabinet doors all over my store. Of course, we were closed during that time for the quarantine. And here is a couple of coats of paint on them. And these are the drawers that got completed, and of course I sent some update pictures to the customer. And here's a picture she sent me, meanwhile, that they had their floor installed. So I was busy working on all of the projects back at the shop, and I did choose to hand paint these stools And I can save customers money by repurposing things. So these, rather than buy the concept stools that I showed her the picture of for lots of money, I can repurpose existing stools and make the wood tops and paint them for less money for her. So for the family. So that is what I do. So these were in progress, and of course I did put a coat on them that gave them some sheen, and I used the Dixie Belle, it was the older version of the no paint gel stain in walnut, so that to stain all the bar and everything. So I brought Dixie Belle Boss with me on site when it was time to install, and I painted all of the shelves of the cabinets with the Dixie Belle Boss. And while paint was drying, I did some install. So here's the little drop down. That's it closed and that's it opened. It just provides an extra little bit of storage and counter space for that area between the stove and the counter. And there's the breakfast bar that was installed. And showing you gator hide here too, because all of the cabinets got a coat of the gator hide as well. That's a water resistant sealer. So here again is the PicsArt app, and I'm showing you from the original picture to the concept to the completed piece. So I just find this app just really helpful. It tells the story in so many ways. And then the homeowner sent me some pictures. They got a new dishwasher meanwhile, and in the original also we were going to remove that little wavy valance between the kitchen cabinets over the sink, but it was super difficult to remove, so I painted it out until we made a decision, and she decided she wanted to keep it that way instead. So I want to thank you so very much for watching, and please comment if you have any questions in the middle of the video. And I hope you join us every Saturday for Step by Step, and then also on Tuesdays for Tuesday Talk. And also visit the website at lavintagedecor.company. On Instagram, we're lavintagedecor. I'd sure love it if you follow me there, and also on Facebook at lavintagedecor Altoona. Stay well.